All right, let's dive right in. We're breaking down the 9 phases of the golf swing, but we have to start at the beginning. And honestly, it's the part most people overlook, but it's absolutely the most critical. The setup. We call it position 1, or P1, and getting this right, well, it's the foundation for literally everything else. So, let's get into it.
We've all seen those pictures, right? In golf magazines, on Instagram, the so-called perfect setup. But here's the real question, the one we're going to tackle today. Is there actually one single, perfect setup that's right for every golfer out there? And let me tell you, the answer is probably not what you think, and it might just change your entire game.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll lock down what position 1 really is. Then, we're going to bust this myth of perfect. After that, I'll introduce you to 3 core player types, we'll compare their setup side by side, and then, the best part, we'll talk about how you can find your own best fit.
Okay, let's build from the ground up. Section 1, the foundation. You've got to understand what position 1 actually is before you can even think about building a solid, repeatable swing.
So, what is P1? Simple. It's the address position. It's that moment you're standing over the ball, totally still, right before you even think about starting the club back. It looks so passive, doesn't it? But trust me, this one static position sets the stage, for better or for worse, for your entire swing.
A great P1 has 4 key ingredients. You've got to have balance and stability. You want to feel athletic, like you're planted on the ground. Then, obviously, alignment. You got to be aimed where you want the ball to go. Third is posture, that good athletic tilt from your hips, not your back. And finally, and this is a big one, managing tension. You want your arms to feel relaxed and heavy, hanging from your shoulders, not stiff and rigid.
All right, section 2. Let's talk about the myth of perfect. This is where we kind of have to unlearn some of the things we've been told for years. Because that idea of a single textbook setup, it's one of the biggest myths in golf.
Now, really think about this for a second. How many hours have you spent trying to copy what some tour pro does? But what if their perfect setup works for their body, and it's actually fighting everything your body wants to do naturally? That's the whole point. Your body is unique, and your setup has to be too.
So, if one size fits all is out, what's the answer? Well, that brings us right to section 3, the 3 core player types. This is a concept from BioSwing Dynamics, and it's all about understanding that different golfers create speed and move in totally different ways.
Basically, there are 3 main ways people move. You've got your upper core players. They generate force mostly from their upper back and shoulders. Then you have middle core players. They're kind of the neutral ones, moving from the center of their body. And finally, lower core players. They're all about the hips and lower body rotation. Each one needs a different setup to be efficient. It just makes sense, right?
And now for the really cool part, section 4. Let's compare these setups. We're going to put them side by side so you can actually see the differences in position 1 for each player type. This is where it all clicks. Okay, look at this. Let's start with posture and tilt. Just look at the torso row. The upper core player stands way more upright. The middle core player has that classic balanced tilt we see a lot, but then check out the lower core player, a much deeper bend from the hips. Their chest is way more tilted toward the ball. It's a huge difference, and it all starts with how much they hinge at the hips. And this is so important. That tilt from your hips, it's not just about looking good. It literally establishes the path, the plane, that your club is going to travel on for the entire swing. If you get this wrong for your body type, you're making the game way harder than it needs to be. Okay, now let's move on to the arms and hands. For an upper core player, you'll see their hands are pretty high, creating a really wide look. Middle core, more neutral, kind of in the middle. But the lower core player is fascinating. Their hands are much lower, and that trail elbow is tucked right into their side, creating arms that hang almost straight down. I mean, these are 3 completely different starting positions.
So the takeaway here is that where you put your hands and arms isn't just a style choice. It directly impacts the width and the shape of your entire swing arc. High hands are going to encourage a different path than low hands. It's all connected.
And finally, let's look at the lower body, the base of the swing. The upper core player might feel best in a slightly narrower stance, less knee flex, with their weight more on the balls of their feet. Your middle core is that classic shoulder width, super balanced setup. But the lower core player often needs a wider stance with more knee flex, feeling their weight settle back towards their heels. It's all about creating a stable platform for their specific way of moving.
Okay, that was a lot of information, I know. But let's bring it all back home. Our last section, find your fit. How do you take all this and actually make it work for you, out on the course?
Here's a super simple way to start.
Grab your phone and record yourself, or just set up in front of a mirror. First, just look at your posture and forget what you've been told it should look like. Just experiment. What feels more powerful to you? Bending over more or standing up taller? Then check your hands. Do they feel better high, creating space, or lower and more connected to your body? This isn't about copying a picture. It's about finding what feels balanced, athletic, and powerful for you.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question. Your golf swing starts way before you actually move the club. It starts in that silent moment at address. It starts with your foundation. So after all this, is your foundation actually solid?